Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Official Naija FPL. I'm your host Jays, and with me in the studio we have.
I have a guest here, so let's introduce the guest first.
Why now? Ladies, adtitan.
Titan. You know how we do it now? It's Agwoturumbe. Let's go.
Nice man. All right, guys. So we will be reviewing Gameweek 7, and
Very interesting
Let's
game
start
week.
with-
Controversial game week.
let's start with the fixtures. So we're talking about Aston Villa, Brighton.
Ooh, Aston Villa, Brighton. People that had Oli Watkins will be smiling, sipping easy. Oli Watkins, 23 points, 3 goals, 1 assist. Man,
Sharp.
I swear, man. If I had Oli
Sharp.
Watkins, man, I was sleeping easy, man. I was sleeping easy. It was,
For your
an
mind.
interesting game. No one expected that Brighton would lose to that amount of goals.
Yeah, the amount of goals.
Yeah.
Very
So-
surprising.
And then Estupinian had an own goal as well. I mean, that was
Estupinian -2. Then
sad.
to put
liability.
salt on the injury, Estupinian is now out for about 6 weeks. That's the most owned defender in the FPL, man, and he's out for 6 weeks. There is that's another talking point. So with the injury situation in the FPL, man, I don't know how we're going to cope in game week 8. So for those that have Oli Watkins, they'll be smiling. For those that benched him, it'll be heartbreak for them. And for those that don't have him, he's up for grabs now.
And I think it's important to point out here that in as much as the result wasn't necessarily what we expected, it was one of those games that was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Very
very
entertaining.
entertaining, man.
And to a large extent, I think the way Aston Villa played kind of showed us that, okay, Roberto De Zerbi's style and approach may not be as bulletproof as it's sometimes exhibited or shown to be.
you know, they play an expansive
really-
type of football.
Yes.
They
And,
always concede. Funny enough, they concede, but like it was just really embarrassing, really, to concede 6 goals. So.
I mean, can you really call it embarrassing? I would say more kind of displaying of an existing weakness, if you think about it, because
what is the existing weakness? I think because Brighton is playing Europa League football for the first time,
yeah,
they're having to shuffle players,
Yeah.
rest players, put players on the bench, so it's affecting them a lot.
Oh, guys, let's not dwell on this game. So, moving on. Bournemouth, Arsenal. I mean, goal scoring fixture for Arsenal, really.
Yeah, for those that had Ben White popped seriously. For those that had Odegaard
Yep.
popped. The interesting point was Kai. Jesse has Kai, and I was slandering him last week that Kai, how will you have Kai? But Kai was given the penalty and he gave him 5 points. So it was an interesting game, high scoring
I
game.
mean, Saka as well and Odegaard.
Odegaard popped and 2 assists and 1 goal.
that was a very heartwarming moment, I should say. The Kai Havertz
allowing
moment.
Kai to play the penalty.
Yeah,
right?
like them coming together as a team. It shows that they really play for one another.
You know what was going to happen? Jesus was supposed to play the penalty. Kai went to meet Odegaard went to meet him and say,
Yes.
guy, allow this guy to play this penalty. Make the guy
go. Make him start the warm
And it
up.
was a lovely penalty, man.
Yes.
No
Too much style, not
nothing. He
messing
just
around.
stepped up, played it,
Put it away.
converted.
Yeah.
Good.
I was happy
his-
for him and
yeah.
happy for Jay that has him.
I
in
mean,
his
but
team.
funny enough, I actually sold him. You know,
You sold him for
it
that
was,
game
it was,
week.
it was painful. That's why I did
Damn.
not reply you. 'cause
These niggas not loyal.
You see what I said about the FPL? You have a player, you think he's not going to pop, you sell him, and that week he pops. That's what
always painful.
That's the irony of life.
I always keep what Salvi says about sticking to what
Your
you have.
plans.
Trust the process. Trust your players. You understand? If you are trusted your
Except
process,
you're Chelsea.
you understand? No. If you are trusted your process, I'm sure at least Kai would have given you more points, and
Yeah.
you won't be looking at your shoelaces this week.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Right. Moving on to the next game, we have Everton Luton. I mean, it was unexpected for Luton to get that game, but
especially away. I think
mean,
getting that away is the real highlight because
considering that the penultimate game, Everton won the game, we expected that they will consolidate on that win and come back. But I'm happy for Calvin Lewin. Calvin Lewin has scored in back-to-back games, and it's a cheap option for those that are looking out for a striker, 5.5. So
and shout out to those that got Morris.
Morris, your man.
He performed, and I mean, moving on to next fixture, we have Manchester United, Crystal Palace. Very tight fixture, but I mean, good decent 3 points for Crystal Palace.
Was it a tight fixture? Manchester United, Crystal Palace. You expect that Man United will steamroll them, considering that they beat them in the Carabao Cup just a couple of days.
Considering that, like that's more reason why they would want to like play, right, to try and get the win, or better still a draw, and then they got the win as well. So I mean,
it behoved on Crystal Palace to come out and prove that loss was a fluke, and they showed. The guy that scored, Joachim Andersen, is the most transferred in defender.
Wow.
This
game week.
For game week 7. For game week 8. So I've been saying it since the beginning of the season that don't focus on Man U players. Their team is shit now. Team is
absolute dog shit.
You can't have them as FPL assets because you'll be drawing blank. Rashford most transferred out. Bruno Fernandes not performing. Oh nah, letting in goals. Oh nah, letting in goals. So man, don't focus on FPL and on Man U players for FPL points, man. And the batting for Crystal Palace, Eberechi Eze is out injured. Alright, what do you feel about that game?
You said it all pretty much. I mean, what am I really adding to that except that Manchester United is so shit now that I'm kind of going into games not expecting them to win because until I see the necessary changes in the team.
What changes do you want to see?
They're really fundamental changes, and I wouldn't ascribe them to certain individuals only. I would say it's more or less just a matter of changing certain pieces in the way that they function. Right? Once they're able to do that, I think it will start to work. Turning Rashford into a goal creator, number one. Changing his job from trying to score to actually just focusing on creation will definitely change their game entirely.
Yeah, he has had a couple of opportunities where if he had passed to his teammates, he would have they would have won the game.
Absolutely,
Absolutely, right, guys.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the next fixture, we have West Ham United, Sheffield United. I mean, Jared Bowen delivered again. Those of you that have Jared Bowen in your team, I mean, Suchek as well was able to get a goal. I mean, and he kept clean sheet as well. So,
are we looking at West Ham defenders?
No. Well, I mean, they can turn up, but they shouldn't be trusted. But I mean,
we spoke about Jared Bowen last week, and I think he's someone that people should be looking at, considering that Saka is out injured. Saka is out injured, and we know Saka. You see, he comes out banged up. Next game week, you see him, he appears miraculously. I don't know what the kind of food they're giving that guy to eat.
I think for me, I just found it interesting that, when you look at the shots on target and total shots taken, you have such a wide disparity in West Ham getting 9 shots on goal out of 20 shot attempts, while Sheffield is getting 2 shots on goal out of 16 shot attempts. That's terrible at the very least, so it really doesn't allow for you to see any way out for them over the next couple of games. I'm sorry, I can't see them coming back from this run anytime soon.
I agree. They've been the weeping boys of the Premiership.
Yes. So I mean, shout out to them though. So yeah.
Why are you shouting out to them? Are you hailing them for chopping goals?
For respect, come on. Can't beat him out when he's down.
We'll shout out to them,
still.
Moving on, we have Wolves, Manchester City. Man, that fixture was incredible.
You see, this is the first time I'm saying this. I triple captained Haaland.
Wow, you did.
I triple captain Haaland. I said
Waste,
against
bro.
no,
Damn.
calm down now. This man is down. This man is down already. This man is down. This man
Treat
is
him
down.
like you treated Sheffield.
So I triple captain Haaland, hoping that against Wolves, the guy will pop. But the Korean guy came to haunt City. Imagine a player that Pep could not remember his name is the one that scored the winning goal. So no one expected that Wolves will win that game.
No, but I knew it was going to be a very tight fixture for Man City because looking at Wolves normally going to that fixture with Man City, that's their particular fixture. Wolves Man City is a really tough one in Wolves home. So I mean,
I feel maybe Pep overhyped the Wolves attackers. Speaking about them, talking about Pedro Neto, that Pedro Neto is an amazing player. Pedro Neto was the one that forced the own goal for the first goal. Talking about the Korean guy that he could not remember his name. Then the Korean guy say, "How can't you remember? What, you can't remember my name? Fuck you, man! He popped the goal, man. The winning goal.
I mean,
so you can't remember my name. Remember this name? My name is Hang Chang." So it was an interesting game. I'm happy that Man City have lost 3 points, so the table is a little bit balanced. Arsenal face Man City in the next game week 8, so it's a nice time for us to play them.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to point out again, like I did in previous game. Why on earth or how on earth can you call that game any sort of an emotional play? Because when you look at like the results, when you look at the way that it came out, when you look at 23 shots on goal for Man City, 23 shot attempts for Man City, 3 shot attempts for Wolves. You understand? So the disparity, I mean, obviously we already know Man City's style of play, but having that disparity already shows you that it was a matter of sheer will, which I wouldn't attribute to just one player. Because that entire team played a heavily defensive game and ensured that Man City could not operate with the freedom that they're typically used to operating with. Yeah. So I think it's way just beyond the emotional response of one or two players. I think the entire team took it personally and said, "Oh, you don't know this guy's name? Don't worry now. You will find out." You'll find out.
I agree.
You'll find out.
I mean,
Then we have to also speak about Haaland. Haaland. That guy
don't you think it's too early in the season to start to highlight?
No. That guy he has a couple of hard games coming up. You play Chelsea, you play Man U, you play Arsenal.
I've always said it on this podcast. Haaland is not a sure pick since Kevin De Bruyne is on the bench. It's not available.
It's not available. I said the same thing, that he's going to find it difficult to score without KDB, and Alvarez will hit his prime this season, and he has been doing that, scoring in Champions League when Haaland is not available,
goal and assist,
scoring in the Premiership to rescue them. So
but you know, all of that is just subject to whenever it is that Haaland understands and figures out how to start to create for himself. Because at the end of the day, the top quality strikers, even Henry talked about this recently, Thierry Henry, the great, sorry, I should talk about him with some respect. Even Thierry Henry talked about this recently, that as a player you have to not just learn how to score, but also how to facilitate creation for yourself, creation for others, such that you can then start to create opportunities even when your key point man is not available, especially due to injury. So that's something for him to consider in terms of expanding his skill set.
It's going to be reschooling for Haaland, because he's just not that kind of player.
He's just not that.
He's a finisher.
He's a finisher.
Yes, and so you used to get him involved in the game, to come deep, involved in the play, try to create assists, involve himself more in the game, not just wait for the end product. It's going to be difficult.
But question: have any of the greatest finishers of all time not been great playmakers? If you look at it from Ronaldo,
good finishers that have not been playmakers now, Inzaghi, Van Nistelrooy.
No, when we're talking about great players, I'm not just saying I'm saying great players that were also good finishers. Thierry Henry was an all-rounder. You understand? Ronaldo the first was an all-rounder. There is no great player you call across time that was a striker that also couldn't.
We don't even need to go that far back.
That far back, exactly.
We can look at Harry Kane. We can
Exactly.
look at Benzema.
Exactly.
Yes, and guys,
Benzema played as a playmaker for Ronaldo for so many years, and then suddenly, it's his time to shine once he's the point man. So that's how you can identify the greatness in the player, and I think that's Haaland's responsibility. He has to figure out what kind of player am I? A player that needs a feeder to support me to be able to score 30 goals a season, or am I the kind of player that can, on my own, with my chest, carry the responsibility of supplying this team with 30 goals?
Then again, you look at the angle that his first season in the Premier League, a lot of defenders did not know about his type of game.
For sure.
Now they've studied him very well.
Yes.
So they've set up any team that is coming up against Man City sets up well for Haaland.
Yep.
You understand? So it's more difficult for him to perform.
Yep.
So this is time for him to prove himself whether he is actually a world-class player.
Whether he's a one-hit wonder.
I think the Ballon d'Or debate is weighing him down because
You think?
It's between him and Messi. So it's possible that is a weight on his shoulder and it's affecting his performance.
If it is, then that means Pep is not doing a great job, because you can't allow that kind of thing to weigh you down at such a young age. Messi is in his twilight years. In the next 5 years, Messi is retired. You have the entirety.
In next year.
In the next year, you have the entirety of the next 10 to 15 to 20 years potentially to dominate. And there is nobody playing at the level that Haaland is playing, finishing wise.
Was playing.
All right, guys. I feel like we've spent a lot of time on.
And it's Haaland, man. It's Haaland. Haaland is.
But yeah, moving on, guys. Another tight fixture. We have Tottenham, Liverpool.
That was
very emotional.
Okay, let me just restrict it to the FPL. People that had Son smile to the bank. This is the first time this season that Salah has drawn a blank.
Yeah.
There are a lot of controversies in the game. Now the whole thing is, should the game be replayed because of the goal that was scored and disallowed?
They are absolutely delusional.
To want to have that game
delusional.
Impossible. I feel like the only thing that can be done here is make VAR more transparent. I don't feel like they can replay that game because
they're absolutely delusional if they want to replay.
I mean, I only feel like
it was a human
VAR
error.
More transparent.
The VAR told the referee that the goal was onside. Told the referee to stop the game. The referee refused. So it has nothing to do with VAR. VAR.
No,
it has nothing to do with VAR. It is the on-field referee that is at fault.
That's what I'm saying. Before, no.
Yes, and what the referee should have done, as is usually done, was wait for the VAR to confirm the offside before starting the game.
Let me explain to you what happened with that audio, right?
Have you listened to the audio?
Yes, I have.
That was very embarrassing.
He asked, right? Like, check, draw the lines for me, right? And they did, and they told him offside. And then he said, good one, guys. And then he continued the game. And then they now said, someone else said it was offside. It was off. He said, I already started the game. There's really nothing I can do. They already, he started the game. There was no way he could call the game.
No, they didn't tell him offside. They told him onside.
If you listen to it.
No. They told him onside, but he said he had already started the game.
That's what I'm saying. They told him the onside after they told him it was off.
Offside.
Right? So he had already started the game. That's why I said, good one, guys.
No. It doesn't matter. He can stop the game immediately and
pull the game back. Pull the game back.
He wants to go and check.
Yes. And go and look at it again.
He's the sole arbiter in the game.
Yes.
He's the one that has the ball. He was reluctant to recall the game, but that aside, Liverpool lost the game. 2 dodgy red cards. People that have Son smiling.
All right, guys. Moving on to the next fixture, we have Nottingham Forest, Brentford. I mean, I really.
From the FPL perspective, look at Mbemu. Mbemu has drawn blank in the last 3 games. Wissa too has drawn blank in the last 2 games. So, do we move from Mbemo and Wissa as FPL assets?
Okay.
Valid question.
Very valid question.
I think you need to give them a couple more games though.
That depends on the fixtures they have coming up.
Valid also.
So moving on, we have Fulham, Chelsea.
Fulham.
So I'm happy for Modric that Modric scored his first Premier League goal. It was a very, very lovely goal.
Yep.
Bojatu scored. Those that have Sterling will be disappointed that he was on the bench.
Why will you have Sterling in your team in 2023? What has Sterling done
It has been
pre-season,
this season? He has been one of the most
warrant?
outstanding Chelsea players in terms of output, effort, and all that.
But his end product is dog shit. What are we talking about here?
Probably that's why the coach put him on the bench.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Which is what he should have done 5 games ago.
From the FPL perspective, we should start looking at. Then, interestingly, Chelsea keeper Sanchez, he's the keeper with the most clean sheets this season,
Wow, incredible.
and I'm sure a lot of people have been shying away from him.
We have the outstanding game. That's double game week.
Yeah,
Luton,
Burnley.
Burnley. And guys, my guy
Your guy
back.
popped. Both your
and
guys,
he
Morris
scored.
and Foster.
You know,
I just
unfortunately,
realized that Foster is a South African.
yeah, he's a South African.
Ah.
Actually, he's a South African.
I
And I've always told you guys, get Foster. He's an asset.
Nostradamus.
You know,
Aura.
Like they play around him, and he's either scoring or assisting goals. So yeah, right. So guys, we'll be looking at our teams on the official Naija IPL league. On my team, I have Leno in goal, 1 point. I have Akanji, 1 point. Estepinian -2, Lamty 0,
Wow.
Fernandez 2, Rashford 2, Bowen 9, Saka 9, Mbemo 2, Alvarez 8 points, Haaland 2 points, captain, so 4 points, 36 overall. I've had a bad run of form, and I mean,
I had a
really-
better points run this week than last week. I was looking for points, so I decided to triple captain. I've spoken about that earlier. I decided to triple captain Haaland, but that didn't work in my favor. But a couple of players gave me points. Odegaard gave me 17 points. Ben White gave me 14 points. Diaby, Eze, Julian Alvarez. So in total, I had about 67 points. So
67.
it wasn't really a bad game week for me.
He would call that a great game week based on his current position.
I was
I mean,
I was able to see green arrows in all my leagues, so I was happy. I was happy. It was not bad for me.
all right, guys. So thanks for listening, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to all our social media platforms. Don't forget to join the official Naija FPL league. The league code is on the screen, and don't forget to fill the Google sheet so that we can have your details and pay you guys. Because I mean, we win every week, and I mean we have top 3 winners for the week. So please fill the Google sheet so we can have your details. Right, moving on. We're going to preview game week 8 fixtures. And I mean, interesting fixtures we have. So, moving on to the next and the very first game, we have Luton Spurs. So, guys, what do you think?
Looking at FPL assets like your man Morris, you're looking at Son and
for sure.
Madison.
Okay.
You understand? I think.
I mean, considering the ginger from Liverpool's game, I mean, I feel like that would be easy win for Spurs as well. So, I mean,
Lots of goals.
Easy win for Spurs. These guys have the ginger of having won their first game now.
Ginger no be
And they're
quality
playing.
now.
They're playing at home. So I don't think it will be easy for them like that. Spurs might win.
Burnley beat them at home, you know.
Spurs might win, but I don't think it will be easy peasy for them.
Well, okay.
I guess we'll
You have
find out.
anything? Adtitan.
No, I think it will be very easy for them. In fact, I think Tottenham is going to use them to increase their goal tally by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, because considering Man City, Arsenal,
Yeah, especially
going against each other, and I mean it's first, second, and third. So I mean with that they would want to increase that point margin. So yeah,
I hope that Luton will cause an upset and will finger fuck Spurs. I fucking hate those cunts.
So moving on to the next fixture, we have Burnley Chelsea. I mean, Burnley Chelsea. My guy Foster. So yeah, we need Foster you need Foster in your FPL considering they're playing Chelsea.
You see, when it comes to Jay-Z, he says if you need Foster, you need Foster. So someone that can put Kai in his team. So if you want Foster in your team, who will you sell to replace him?
I mean, you can really be tricky about that. You can sell anybody.
There's nothing you can do. Yes, and, is it time to look at Chelsea assets? I've spoken about Sanchez having kept three clean sheets this season. Yet. The only keeper that have kept three clean sheets in the Premier League this season. So it's someone to look at.
Well, yeah, I don't feel like they would have they'll keep a clean sheet really, because considering both teams are coming from a good last game week, right? So I feel like both teams would want to show themselves more and play more, and I feel like it would be a goal scoring fixture. So
okay,
just have if you really want to have access from those teams, have attackers really. So yeah,
fair.
Moving on, we have Everton Bournemouth. Adtitan.
I'm rooting for Calvert-Lewin. Okay. Because I would like for Calvert-Lewin to continue his run of good games. Right. You know, like you said earlier, Agwo, the ability to be able to score across multiple games, especially consecutively, is very good for a player's confidence.
Yeah.
We can't deny that fact.
Yeah.
So it will be very good for him if he can pop a couple goals in this game, maybe get an assist too. You never know.
Considering that Bournemouth is the club that has letting the most shots on targets in the Premiership.
So basically, there's Vaseline in there, Yash.
Why would you say that on this board, bro?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that kind of.
Moving on.
You will be looking at Everton players to come true.
All right, moving on, guys. We have Fulham, Sheffield United. Do you really have assets in that?
Yeah, you're looking at someone like Leno. Leno have been racking up points this season.
I mean, Leno did not rack up points last game because I had Leno. It wasn't.
Are you going to start him or bench him?
Man, is my
Who's
best
your second choice keeper?
You don't want to know, bro. So right now, I would go with Leno for my.
Okay, so
next fixture we have Man U Brentford. I feel like
Man U Brentford is going to be a 50-50 game.
Yeah. The same as
Man U is playing at home, right?
Yeah, Man U is playing at home.
So they've had.
Does that really play any role in whether they win or not?
No, they've had 2 consecutive defeats, both at home. So I don't think Man U will lose that game. So for players that will come through for Man U, they don't. Again, is it time to bench Onana? Does the coach keep faith in Onana, considering that he has conceded 18 goals?
At this point, I really don't think he can bench Onana because that would
destroy
kill his
confidence. My goodness.
And that would be poor again because that back would just. I feel like he should just keep in and they should work together as a team
to figure out what works.
Both teams that their FPL assets have drawn blanks in last game week. So you'll be hoping that people like Rashford, Højlund. He has been outstanding.
He's an asset really to get.
And I've spoken about him
that
as
fixture.
Someone that you look at as a differential.
Yes.
So if people are selling Rashford,
if people are selling Haaland,
no, you're selling. I won't look at no, not yet.
I think it's a bit early to start talking about selling Haaland.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I've sold
Rashford for sure because
Rashford is one of the most sold out players for last game week. So you'll be looking at players like Bruno Fernandes to pop. Anthony is coming back to the team.
Anthony, come on!
From all the rape allegations, he might have something to prove.
Yeah.
So
I mean, assuming he finds a way to play with his other foot.
Then for Brentford,
What about Brentford? Yes.
Brentford, Wissa and Mbemu,
Still same
they
assets.
drew blank
Okay.
last game week. You'll be hoping if you have them,
They
they'll
would.
pop
At
before you
least,
can put
yeah.
them up in the market.
Okay. So we have Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest. I mean, with Eze out for Crystal Palace.
Eze is out injured for the next 3-4 weeks, and I have Eze in my team. I had to sell him to bring in Mitoma.
Okay.
So if you have if you have Eze in your team, he's out injured, so he's among
But
the.
you will still have Edward as the striker.
I don't have him. I don't have him. So
In terms of assets in
Crystal Palace. Yeah, then you have to look at Joachim Anderson, the guy that scored the goal against Man U
I was just about to say that.
last game week. Yeah,
Okay.
he's an asset to look out for.
Okay. What about Nottingham Forest? Same assets? Alanga,
Elanga, Aoni.
Oni.
Yeah, Kate got a red card in the last game, so it might affect their setup in the next game week.
Next game fixture we have Brighton Liverpool. Same assets.
All right, what do you think about that game?
What do you think? Alright.
That's interesting because now on one side Liverpool have something to prove, but on the other side Brighton have this really terrible game that they're trying to come back from.
Yeah.
You know, so it's the worst time to be facing Liverpool and it's the worst time to be facing Brighton. But of course, blood might be shed because at the end of the day,
you know,
And if you look at Brighton's fixtures, they always score and concede.
against the big teams.
No, like their fixtures this season, like right, they always
I don't
concede
think
and
they've
score.
kept a-
Concede.
a-
They've not
they've not
kept
kept
a
a
clean
clean
sheet
sheet.
this season, so it will definitely be a goal scoring fixture,
game.
definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So
like
for-
I always say, go for the strikers if you are considering assets.
Within that team.
You go
yeah.
for
The Salahs.
much more Mitoma, Salah.
Mitoma.
You have
the sad thing is that Estupinian, Pervis Estupinian, the most owned defender, is out injured for 6 weeks. So
even
you have
better,
to-
so you can take him off and
you if you have like 3-4 injuries in your team, what do you do? Like me, I have like 3-4 injured players out.
Yet you ended up with 67 points.
Yes, and I have only one transfer. I know I have only one transfer to make this week.
okay.
So it's like
I
between
mean,
the
you
devil
can
and
you
the
can
deep blue
take
sea.
you can take minus, you can take hits.
No,
so
I'm not ready to take a hit. So
This guy's not your guy.
I'll just wave my way through.
can take hits.
I'll be hoping like that. Salah will come through because he drew a blank last game week. Mitoma drew a blank last game week. So those kind of players, I'll be hoping that they will come through and feed me with points.
So next fixture we have West Ham Newcastle. West Ham Newcastle. Are we still going to have Newcastle defenders?
No, you stick to the Newcastle defenders. You have Botman is injured. He has 25% chance of playing.
25.
Trippier is the most transferred in defender, 23 points last game week. So if you don't have him and you can't afford him, it's time to have him. Newcastle, they're high flying. They're high flying.
I mean,
They will pop some
They will
goals.
enter this game week with their dick in their hand hard.
But I mean, also from West Ham's perspective, you have Bowen to most transferred amongst the most transferred players in for game week 8.
In previous FPL seasons, I would have said it's a 50-50 chance, but I think Newcastle will streamroll West Ham. So if you have Newcastle defenders, Newcastle attackers, Almiron has scored in his last 3 games, so I'm expecting that he'll provide a goal of assist. I've spoken about Anthony Gordon severally. But the thing is that between Isak and Wilson, who will start? Isak started the Champions League game, so you expect Wilson to start.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's it.
Next fixture we have Wolves, Aston Villa. I mean, you can really look at Hang. I mean, what's
Yeah,
he doing?
he's not Hango. You look at Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto has been the most outstanding player for Wolves this season.
But most of the time, when a player scores, there's a high percent chance that he would score in the next game fixture. So he's also
you look at Pedro Neto for his goal contribution.
okay.
Yes, and
But what did he, like? I mean, well, it wasn't in the score sheets or assist sheets.
He was now. His cross forced the arrow for Ruben Diaz own goal.
Was it part of the goal?
Yes, now
Was
he
it
had
written?
points for that.
Okay. Moving on to the last fixture for game week 8, and it is Arsenal Man City.
Whoa.
It's going to be a tricky one from an FPL perspective because last match that Arsenal Man City played in the Premier League, we know what happened, how they streamrolled us, but I think it's going to be different.
Very different.
There is no Rodri for the Man City. Calvin Phillips is suspect. Haaland has been firing blanks.
KDB is out.
Haaland doesn't perform. Has not scored a goal against Arsenal since he came to the FPL. You understand? So
EPL.
now you have to the EPL. So now you have to look at, do you captain Haaland against Arsenal?
You can't try that.
You understand? So if you're not captaining Haaland, who do you captain?
I would think that the player to captain has to be on Arsenal's team because they have a higher chance of winning that game.
No.
Higher chance of.
I really don't feel like
performance.
you should just rule out Man City because I mean,
No, I'm not ruling them out. I'm saying
they-
in terms of
playing at
individual
home?
in terms of individual
Arsenal,
performances.
Arsenal. They had
I
they
know
had a
Arsenal,
good
Arsenal, they are
performance.
always very emotional at home. They
Yes.
tend to concede at home.
Yeah.
So you look at that from an FPL perspective, it's going to be a cagey game.
I mean, Saka is injured. I mean, 50-50. I don't even know if it's 50-50 chance.
Saka is spiritual. He will play.
So are you saying we should still keep Saka?
No, if you have Saka on your team, you can't afford to sell him now.
I feel like you should still play Saka, right? But have a good man as your first bench, right? So if he doesn't play, then automatic switch.
Yeah, that can work. But from an FPL perspective, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game week.
Because of the international break?
Not because of the
Oh.
low-scoring game between Arsenal and Man City.
Okay.
From the FPL perspective, it might end up in a 0-0 draw.
Or 1-1.
Wow.
You understand?
Right. What about captain choice? What do you guys
Captain choice for this week, I think I've glossed on it a little bit. Captain choices for this week. Regular captain choices would have been Saka, Haaland, Salah, Son. But now that Saka is 50-50 out, you rule him out. Son, Maddison, Salah should be the major captain picks for this week. You understand? I don't think, even though Haaland is very expensive, he has popular season, but I don't think I'm going to captain Haaland this week. I'm going to go for Salah. If you have Son in your team, you can decide to captain Son against a Luton. But there's another thing at early fixtures. Luton Spurs is the 11:45 fixture, and that game can go either way. You understand? Maybe the Spurs players will come in and play with hangover and they will lose the game.
But I mean, for me, captain. I mean, I always like to go. I mean, different.
No, you always go different. But for this is the game week that I might support you, but I won't support you. I'll support you in the sense that I know you don't have Haaland. You might not captain Haaland, but you can decide to captain in Bournemouth against Man U. Yeah, weird like that. So
I'm even considering captaining Foster against Chelsea.
I leave it to your fate. I leave it to your fate.
You like the play
yes.
with this.
But me, I think
for me, guys,
I think I'm going to captain Salah this week.
Yeah, I feel like for me, Maddison is a good choice. Salah is a good choice. Alvarez is a good choice.
Alvarez against Arsenal.
Yes, I feel like we should not just rule out Man City, really. But yeah, I feel like
my three captain
Maddison,
choices will be Salah, Son, Maddison.
Well,
What yours?
fair enough. Mine choices would be Foster, Alvarez, Maddison, and Salah as well.
But who will look captain?
Our captain.
Because
No,
among those four players,
you guys would,
among those four players you've called, you have only two of them.
I'm suggesting.
No,
right?
no. Who are you going to captain?
Who am I going to captain? For me,
Foster.
am I suggesting for the
No,
viewers
don't suggest.
now?
Who are you going to captain? Don't suggest. Who are you going to
The person
captain?
I'm going to captain, that will be revealed
On the day.
But for the suggestion, guys, go with what I said: Alvarez or Madison or Salah. Foster, I don't know if you guys will have mind like me, but yeah.
Hey,
Believe in
Believe.
yourself.
just believe.
What do you think, man?
I mean, you guys are both spot on, man. There's no other way to spin it. You know, those are the only people that have the traction and the amount of games going for them to be able to guaranteedly give us something.
and in terms of the
tangible.
fixtures as well.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Fixtures work in their
Alright.
favor, you know, especially Salah, because you know he has something to prove after the last game.
All right, so guys, tell us what you think about captain choice on the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and
Another interesting thing, we might be talking about whether it's time to sell Haaland. Yes,
So we'll leave that for next week. we'll leave that for next week, and
because man,
that's a great cliffhanger.
if
I'm not
Haaland
gonna
doesn't
lie.
pop this week, man,
Don't spoil
that 14.1 this thing, man, you will say
Don't spoil it for them. Don't spoil it for them.
so,
Don't spoil
okay.
it for
Okay,
them.
let's leave
Please
it
don't
like
spoil
that.
it for them. Just leave it on that note. Are we going to remove
Is it
Haaland? Is it time to
Haaland?
remove Haaland next week? That's next week's question. That's the first question we have to answer.
Yeah.
all right, guys, you heard it here first, and don't forget to follow us on all
Like,
social
share,
media
subscribe.
platforms. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you.
Peace and out.
Deuces.